Habari. Welcome to Wisdom Exchange TV. The Wisdom Exchange is a resource to help African women to learn, lead, and succeed in life, career, and community. It is a forum where women of all disciplines will learn from African women in politics, business, philanthropy, and education. These are the women that are the change agents of our community, country, continent, and our companies. These women will inspire us to reach our vision, not only of what we can be, but what we can do. New interviews and expert perspective blogs will be updated regularly, so please do tune in. These are the women that are the leaders of today for tomorrow. Hello, my name is Suzanne F Stevens. I am the founder and producer of Wisdom Exchange TV. I'm also the founder of the Ignite Excellence Foundation, which mission is to invest in women leaders in developing countries. As an inspirational speaker, a business trainer for sales and leadership, and a living coach, and the founder of Ignite Excellence Group of Initiatives, I have the honor to interview and work with women like the woman we're interviewing today. We are here in Nairobi, Kenya, with our special guest today, Gladys Muhunyo. Gladys is the Director of African Programs for Computer Aid Africa. Computer Aid International is a UK registered charity that provides refurbished PCs to non-for-profit organizations in developing countries. It is also the largest social media company in Europe, I believe.
That's true, very true.
Which is wonderful. We're going to talk more about that a little later on, but welcome.
Thank you, Suzanne.
It's great to finally meet you face to face.
Thank you, and welcome to Kenya.
Thank you very much.
Great.
I want to sort of start off with my understanding of when you graduated school. You started as an entrepreneur first.
Yes.
Tell us about why you decided to become an entrepreneur first.
Well, like everybody's dream is to make money. I thought my drive was to make money, and I realized as an entrepreneur of a school, the greatest desire was to grow people, was to change people, to make them better than they are themselves. And that's how I moved from being a school owner to a social entrepreneur, and more so in the information for communication development sector, ICT. So basically the shift was natural because it's a growth area. Education is a growth area, and a business within the school environment, it's growth and developing people, and that's my passion.
Now, were you not able to do that as an entrepreneur?
I was, but I wanted to reach more people. I wanted to get more areas covered. And in the 90s, it was in the 90s, that's when the ICT or computers and the information hit Africa and Nairobi for that matter. And there was no one who knew anything about computers, and the school was to teach people how to use computers.
Right.
So basically it is the same teaching and growing people, but then after the computers, then what? There is information that needs to be shared and communicated, and being successful in a area then makes you want to make more people successful, and that's where I went on.
I can appreciate what you're saying there,
Yeah.
but now how long were you an entrepreneur for?
I was actually an entrepreneur for 11 years.
Okay.
But the latter part of that, I did move on to philanthropy and helping the social networks grow. But the school I ran was for 11 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, let's just go back to those 11 years before we go forward.
Yeah.
What were some of your key learnings while you were an entrepreneur?
Yes. The first thing is we all think I don't have money, so I cannot do anything. It's all about what you have, and you begin where you are. And I said I want to start a school in a town where I don't live. And I remember my father's words, you can do it, just go and do it. And when you begin with the resources you have, and because you know your skill and talent, it just grows. The second thing is just to understand that as you get revenue, you plow it back into the organization. The hardest bit as a young lady was getting funding to be able to move and expand to the next level. And that's when I began building partnerships. I realized that I cannot have everything, but there's somebody who has something who can leverage my education network. And so I began to build small level partnerships to help me grow to the next level.
Let's stay there for a bit, the
Yeah.
partnerships, because that is such an important piece, and often
Yes.
people do think they have to do things on their own. Is there any insight that you can provide on how to build a partnership?
Yes. Well, you look at, first of all, what are my strengths? And perfect on those strengths. At the school in the medium level, our strength was to get people who are out of secondary schools to prepare them for university and the next level. So what is the partnership I need? The source of the students, which is the schools where they're coming from. And the second partnership I needed was where they're going to, the university level, so that when they finish my level, they can partner with universities. So look at my strength, who has what you need and who has where you're going. So you first build that bridge so that you have credibility on the whole path.
And when you build that bridge, you reach out to those individuals, meet with them?
Yes.
Okay.
The challenge of business is when you want to do everything. When I want to now be the source of the students and I want to be the finisher, so I start, and when you do everything, then your perfectionism becomes diluted. You stop being perfect in what you're good at and you start taking other people's jobs. So in building networks, I believe I'm helping the other people grow as I'm growing in myself.
Okay, excellent. Excellent advice too, because you're right, you can't do everything well.
Yes.
We'd like to though. So what would you find was the most rewarding part of being an entrepreneur?
Helping people grow.
But you do that now.
I still think as an entrepreneur that where we started and by the time I let off go to school is not where we began. And the staff and the people I had on board had all grown to a level that I couldn't even imagine. The hardest bit was the money was never enough for what I wanted to do. So even as I look at the bottom line and find that what have I done, I'm able to look at the social growth and the business growth. Business in Africa, I must emphasize, is not about the bottom line also. We are social people. We want to grow people. We want to make sure that the product I'm bringing is making a change where I am. So we can't lose that. It's kind of doesn't make it a full business, but we can't lose the fact that we are social. In fact, most of the times, if you go to a small shop, they'll probably give you things on credit, understanding that you will pay when you need. But that's not business. People should pay when they take something from you. But in the end, as you because you grow people, you're satisfied that your bottom line is not so big, but you have grown with other people.
Yeah, no, I would agree that my observations of Africa are that one of the key areas that I've been working on and over the last 11 years is people may get motivated by money, but it doesn't keep them there. At the end of the day, that is why you may join an organization, but that's not what keeps you there. Nowadays, people don't even join organizations based on money, especially with the newer generation coming in. They have different priorities, which are good social priorities in many cases. So what would you say the biggest challenge was then as being an entrepreneur?
First, because I was a woman, and the fact that you did not have anybody as a man, your father is not there, or a husband or a bigger brother to walk you through the offices and get licenses for you. So people really didn't believe that a woman can do this. And that was in the 90s. Things have changed now. There's a lot more women entrepreneurs. There's a lot more support networks for women that exist today, which is a big plus. The second thing is that I was young. And people equate young to inexperience, which I don't think so. Being a university graduate, I believed I had the knowledge and the power that I could achieve what I could do. But in the end, you look at young people and think, oh, they can't do anything. Today it's different. We have a big youth movement that is helping young people get into business. And most of the women are getting quite a lot of network support, which is a good thing. But when I started off, it wasn't the same thing at all, yes.
How old were you?
I was 22.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, would you say from 22 to now?
Yeah. To 40.
Okay. From 22 to now, would you say, did you know enough starting as an entrepreneur at 22?
I knew nothing.
Okay.
I absolutely knew nothing.
Yeah.
Yes. But because I had seen my father, do bankings, I'd seen my father, take his cash and bank it and take his costs and pay people. I'd seen him market, I'd helped him advertise once in a while in whatever businesses he had. I kind of had an idea that when I make money, I've got to bank it and not spend it. I've got to pay my service providers. So I had an idea, but I had no idea that I was going to swim with some sharks, more like it. Yeah.
So what do you know now, one or two things that you know now that you wish you knew at 22 when you were starting out as an entrepreneur?
First is that you need a network. I didn't know that. Secondly, that you need a mentorship opportunity. You look at other people who you admire and successful in the businesses you want to grow to, and go to them and ask them, how have you done what you have done? I didn't know that I could talk to them. I didn't know that they'd be willing to talk to me. And I lost so many opportunities because of being afraid to ask. So if people can today, the young people who are starting off in business, can learn to ask those that they admire and learn from them, then it becomes you have less hurdles.
Do you have any suggestions on how somebody at 22 would actually go about doing that?
Yes, first of all, if you're in your area of business, there are associations of those area of business. Secondly, the banking sector where you bank, they always have a business network forum. Begin to go to these areas and begin to find out how they support the bigger businesses, even though you're a small person. Every time you get into a question and you want to check with somebody, don't just ask yourself and get your answer. Counter check it with somebody else. Most of the time you're right, but when you get a confirmation, then you really 100%. Don't be afraid. That
gives you the confidence.
Yes.
Yeah, it gives you the confidence. Excellent advice.
Yeah.
Now, Hemland Computer Institute, was that the name of it?
That is true.
Yes, okay. So that's where you started, and that's still operating.
It is operating.
It is, excellent. Then you went to Insight Technologies, eventually to become the general manager.
Yes.
From there to Computer Aid International.
Correct.
And you've been here how long?
I've been here 6 years.
Okay, you've been here 6 years.
Yes.
Now, what was the catalyst for each one of those moves?
I believe it's a need for more growth than you are. So when I was doing the business, I basically saturated the town and got everything going and got networked to the university, and I felt, hey, I haven't learned a lot on ICT as I would. And the new thing, that was in about 1993, the new thing was internet. And there was nobody who knew internet in my small town. What is, you ask for a job in an internet service provider company. And that's what I did. And so I wanted to learn internet and how the internet works by working for them and helping them grow, because I already knew how to build networks, how to establish partnership. I helped them grow as a junior employee to the general manager. I learned the internet business. So I know computers, I know how to teach people, I know the internet business. But am I really making a change in the environment? Social, philanthropy. We need computers in the world. How can we give people more computers? Computer Aid comes in. They are a network that gives people computers. So I say, why can't we establish an office in Kenya? And then, oh, that was in our plan. Now here Gladys comes, we establish an office in Kenya and serve Kenya and say, I want to serve East Africa. There you go, hire someone, help you do this. And the organization policy was always to grow in Africa. And so I just fitted into the gap. I needed to help more people learn about computers, learn about how to use this technology to leverage themselves, and also now across Africa, how do we grow that? And then help people in women networks and businesses to actually get themselves to understand that IT is not for the young. It can actually help you get your information connected in communication using affordable technology. So that's the growth plan. Just wanting to be able to do more than I do all the time.
It's interesting that you say it's not for the young, because I know we're seeing in the Western world a huge change. The biggest growth is actually over 55. And you also mentioned before we started our interview that people are not blogging a lot, and sometimes they don't have computers. One thing I've noticed is people that even do have computers, they're not using social media to their advantage, even if they have the infrastructure of organizations. And do you have any insight into that? Maybe people that actually have the tools to use social media?
I wish I actually had the answer, but it's a mixture of things. First, I think it's the fear of the world knowing you. Most of the situations is that because you have your customers and you have your network of associations and they know you, then you're comfortable. Why should everybody else know me? And that's I think it's associated with fear. Secondly, is not understanding the power of the tool that is in your hands. Mainly because we don't talk to other people who are using the social media and we don't know what they have done. So we want to be able to train them. We want to be able to expose them to this network. Say, this is the power of what you're holding in your hand. And then the third thing is just that people have not seen the bottom line of using this. When you do an advertisement or something in the newspaper, how does it convert to growth? But you have been known, you've been mentioned 3-4 times. But so social media and social networks, until you see the bottom line, until people get excited over the first thing that they've achieved of that. I have 2 women blogging in Zimbabwe, amazingly, university librarians. But it's when they first did the first one that they realized, oh my God, this is so much power. Can I do the second one and the third one? It is when they start. We have tried to do one for our partners called Ushahidi, just helping them to put there and say what their Ushahidi means witness in Swahili. So we tell them to just put and say what they are doing, and they are not doing it. And they have the computer. So I'm trying to understand, how do I help you go to the next level? So it's training and advocacy that we need to do a little bit more. It's taking a bit of time, but we will get there.
Yeah, and you can appreciate too, people don't want to put their lives out there, and knowing that you don't have to put your life out there.
Yeah.
You can decide what you tell people and what you don't.
Maybe another thing is, in the African context, is that you don't blow your own trumpet. And sometimes I sometimes feel that when I'm blogging about what I'm doing, am I really blowing my own trumpet? It just goes back to your upbringing. Let people talk well of you, not you talk well of yourself. But business and social networks are not like that. You've got to tell us what you're doing so that we appreciate that we can work with you. So it's kind of that background that we have to come out of.
That's an excellent point. And I really, coming back to Africa for the last 4 years, I can see that. People don't say what they're doing unless they're asked, which is why we're doing the interviewing, so that people will tell us what they're doing and not blow their own trumpet, but allow us to give you the vehicle to do that. Which leads me to a really important point, because a lot of people wouldn't know that you're the first. Not too many people can say first of anything these days. First lady to be appointed head of an information community technology network in the African continent.
That's a big one, actually.
It is a big one.
It's actually wonderful in a sense, but every time it's like, so who do you know that you've been appointed? It's not your qualification that come out first. It's always like, who do you know? Like, nobody. It's my work. And once you enjoy it, and once people start to see that yes, the network is growing. She's actually promoting ICT in areas of education, in health, in agriculture. We can see the work. Therefore, you are qualified for that. The thing about being the first is that you have to maintain that you're always doing the best, so that you can grow other people to be like you or even better than you in this particular network. And sometimes the challenge is people doubt that you can do it. The thing I had to do is to go back to school and get my master's degree in organizational development, so that not only that I had the skill and had the information, I now have the knowledge supported by learning to do the work I do and know how to do it best and better.
Which I was going to ask you why you went back to school, because you have been very successful, but you feel that need
Yes.
to have that.
That
And also have the accreditation behind your name?
Yes,
Does that
yes,
assist?
that's assist, yeah.
Being the first, you've sort of touched on the responsibility that you have. Do you find any other responsibilities to women?
Yes, first is to nurture other women and to ensure that the people who are coming from school, the girls' schools, right at the secondary school level, can choose IT as a career, information technology as a career. And we've put together a network of women champions across Africa under the Linux Chicks Africa program, in which I am part of the people who stand up and say, hey, I have done it. Young girls, you can do better than me. That's the first one. The second is exchange networks. We find other women who are in the sector and find, what are you good at? I'm good at engineering. I'm good at software development. I'm good at networking, you people. So you leverage on each and everybody's strengths as a woman in this sector. The danger we shall have is if we don't mentor people. So I'm pushing for mentorship. Those things that I lacked when I started off, would like to make sure that they are on the table for other women and for other young girls. They find mentors, they find people in my sector, in ICT is really male dominated even today, so that when you sit in a room, you're negotiating, there's only one woman. It hasn't changed. We want to get more of these young people out there. And I must say, I'm so delighted when I see the young girls. There's one in particular who's really gone and sat on the board of an information communication company just from being mentored. And I think we can do a lot more. Other women in these different sectors should be able to do the mentoring. Not forgetting that the young boys also need the same thing from different channels. Yeah.
Who is your mentor?
Oh, I have various ways. I've been mentored by a university professor, Dr. Ndege. She's a Kenyatta University professor. I saw her grow in IT. I've mentorship in almost all sectors, I must say. Some of them men. But the thing is, they allow you to exercise your space and growth. My core women in technology, we've seen each other grow in various angles. I listen a lot to Marianne Williamson. She's a key, somebody who says get out of your fear and move to the next level. So I've seen Professor Wangari Maathai, challenge the society and the status quo, and you just go there. My biggest mentor is my father.
I had a feeling about that. I just got shivers when you said that. I had a feeling about that.
Yes. He has managed to grow business in any angle he sets up, and he just becomes successful. And at 70, I've taught him how to use IT. He's selling his wood online, on the internet, and he learned it at 70. It's because I just see him wanting to get better and better. Yeah.
That's quite a mentor to have. To have that. So what would be the most important thing you've achieved in your career so far? The most significant thing? I mean, you're only 40, so you're young.
Old.
Don't say that.
This is a combination of people's efforts. But I think the greatest thing was setting up this regional office from scratch. I do know that I had a great board supporting me. I had a CEO who had a vision like me. But just getting on the ground and getting yourself active and ready, setting up a running office that actually survives the upheavals of economic downtime, that was great. Setting up a team that has done much better than I on the ground now, and helping them explore their biggest potential, that has been great. And above all, having a network that anyone can say, what work do you want to do in Zimbabwe? Computer Aid has a network there. What work do you want to do in Nigeria? Computer Aid has a network there. We are now in DRC. Can we get you there? That for me has been the greatest achievement.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And not stopping, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Excellent. I'm going to go to the edginess segment and just discuss what edginess is. And you actually talked already about, that feel the fear. And I believe in feel the fear and do it anyway as well.
Yes.
And I refer to that as edginess. And this is the time where you've done something in your life that made you extremely uncomfortable. But as a result of doing that, you met the enhanced version of yourself.
Yes.
So what have you done that has made you uncomfortable in your career, and as a result of that, has made you more successful?
Well, I must say it's flying. I can't believe I have a flying job because the fear of just getting onto an aircraft and making, when it takes off and it's not touching the ground, that used to just make me almost paralyzed. But I had to overcome it, and there is no way of establishing networks across Africa or reaching to people and telling them this is what technology can do for you if you're not flying from one country to another. Mm-hmm. Today I fly every month almost, and it is because of overcoming that fear that you're getting off the ground and nothing is being touched, touching the ground in any way on a plane. And that has helped in a lot of things, help people wanting to get out of the career. Sometimes it's not flying, sometimes it's getting the next degree, sometimes it's opening the next school, sometimes it's helping another young person achieve their dreams. It's almost the same thing. You're lifting yourself out of your comfort zone and finding out, if I actually did it once, I can do it a second time. Today I don't even need to think about parking, I park overnight.
I'm curious, if you didn't fly, would you have achieved what's so important to you?
No. Absolutely not, because the travel across Africa, as you've been traveling, the road networks is not exactly the best. And how fast do you want to grow technology? You had to move, and the fastest means is by flying.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing your edginess with us.
Gladys, thank you.
Edginess is a really important element, and that's, flying. As you said, people have a lot of different types of edginess. I want to focus on a business one for a moment. Something that you did in business that was really challenging, made you uncomfortable, and you had to overcome it. Can you give us an example?
Yes, actually, I do remember my first trip to northern Somali. And first, the preparation and the security alerts were just like, what am I going to do here? Is ICT really needed in this area? I kept asking myself. But after the United Nations briefs and security briefs, I had to realize that this is an area I have to go to. And when I arrived there, I had to dress, I'm Christian, but I had to dress and cover myself up into, be a respected woman in the society means you have to cover yourself up. And when we came up to one of the universities for a meeting, I did my presentation. First of all, they didn't greet me. I did my presentation and sat down. And after I sat down, they asked the gentleman who was accompanying me from UNESCO, I said, can you tell us why she's here? I just felt like, what have I just said for the last 30 minutes? And he had to kind of say again what I had said in the same language, which was English, but it was coming from a man. And it was taken and accepted. I have to live with that and understand that it's not about me. It's about the culture and the society where they come from. And ever since, once they realized that really they've got to deal with computer aid and the representative is a woman, then they had to overcome what it is that they had on their plate. But I also respect their culture. And every time they ask the question, I'll then answer to the gentleman and say, this is what I mean. And he'd say the same words to the men. And that is the answer. But above that, we achieved what we wanted to achieve. We put computers in those universities and the children got to learn. So you have to look at, what do I want to achieve? Do I need to change my dressing? Do I need to respect their culture? Do I need to have somebody interpret? If I'm dealing with women groups, what's the protocol? Sometimes you have to go and go through greeting so many people and listening to many speeches, because I'm actually here to give you computers. You just got to understand who are the people you're dealing with, respect them at their level, and then tell them what you're good at and why you're there. Once they understand that, then your business will be done.
Absolutely. And in singing this, one of the cornerstones of when I do presentation training is, who is your audience? And it's not about you. And I love that you said that, because it's very much, you can take it pretty personally, but it really isn't about you. It's just the way things are done around here.
Yes.
And this is our culture. So respect it, work within it,
Correct.
or don't do business with us. And those are the decisions you have to make. Yes. So beyond that, what would be the biggest obstacle to this last 18 years? What would you say the biggest obstacle for a woman has been, particularly you, in achieving your career aspirations?
The biggest is fear. Just being afraid to be who you want to be. You know what you're good at, you know where it is needed, and you just think, oh, why me? If you don't do it, who will do it? And I think that's the biggest obstacle. It's not that we do not have the networks to support us, we just don't look for them. And as I see women who have the computers and who have things to blog about, and they don't blog, or we don't blog often enough, that's the biggest obstacle. It's our fear.
Mm-hmm. So what does success mean to you?
I think it's a journey every day of achieving something new that you did not achieve before, and of helping somebody else achieve something new. So we've never reached the level of success we'll always reach, because there's always something extra new that you need to learn or you need to achieve. So today I have succeeded, but I need to succeed again. So it will a continuous journey of growth. And I like the agricultural people that we work with. Once you put maize on the ground, sorry to use maize, it's our staple food.
Yes, absolutely.
And you put it on the ground and cover it with soil, it must die and then come out as a shoot. So what is it about my success that has to die? It's my fear and the things that I think I don't have, so that now I can come out and shine in the areas that I'm successful with. So we go with that natural growth.
I love that analogy. Love that analogy. Now, how would you define leadership? Because that's why we're interviewing you. Is, you know, you're a woman leader in your own right.
Yes.
But how would you define it?
I think leadership is when you have a follower that is doing the right thing or learning from you in the right thing. Because as they say in leadership, if you're walking alone, then you're not a leader. You're just taking a solitary walk. But if you're walking and other people are following behind you in the right direction, doing the things that need to be achieved, then you are a leader. So mentorship is part of leadership. Growing people is part of leadership. Achieving results as a team is part of leadership. Leadership is leading by example.
Excellent. With that, as a leader, what do you find are the three most powerful, or 3 or 4 or 5 pieces of advice that you can give someone trying to lead a project or a team or an initiative?
I'll give you 4.
Okay.
The first is what I learned from my father as a young girl. In fact, he used to write it on a white blackboard and make us read it every day. I didn't know what it meant, but I believe it today. Nothing is impossible. It can be done. I've added a little bit of sentence to that. It means it begins with me. Nothing is impossible. It can be done. It begins with me. The second one is, it's the people that matter. The people that I have at my team, helping them leverage their strengths and helping them to achieve even more than I have, then you can do anything as an organization. It's your people that matter. The third one is building a sound network of partners, of customers, of clients. And we do that by doing an extra 1% for each one of them. Then it will help your business to grow. The last and the best, and my passion, is embracing the power of information and communication technology. Because it's until you have your knowledge base in a central area where everyone has access to it, that you can leverage your full potential as a person and as a business.
Now, is that how you measure success too?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Has my network growth? Are my people better? Am I doing an extra 1%? Have I seen something impossible, and make sure that I've started to do it so that it can be possible?
Excellent. Great advice. Great advice. Now, how have you taken your success and multiplied it? And a lot of what you're talking about is in empowering the people behind you. But can you give us another specific example where you've taken what you've already been successful at and multiplied it to make it bigger than you?
Well, basically for Computer it is that we started as Kenya. We went to East Africa, moved to Southern Africa, Now we went to West Africa, and we had forgotten Central Africa. We are now in Central Africa.
Excellent.
So it's basically building the blocks. As soon as you're successful in one area, get the next one and get the next one. Today, computer is talking about Latin America because we are successful in the region where we are.
Wonderful. Now, during that time, in all your different roles, how do you make sure you continue to be true to yourself?
You've got to get some me time. And some of my me time is reading growth books, reading books that have been written by great people like John C. Maxwell is a great author, Zig Ziglar, just getting to read and to understand. The second bit is getting into networks of organizations that grow people. They're also being checked. When people check me, when my staff tell me, hey Gladys, we're going this direction, I go back and ask, what is it that I have done that was not in the plan? When my board asks a question, why are we going this direction? And what is it that I haven't done to convince them? So I have to always come back and reevaluate what it is I'm doing. Having read and having listened to what other people are saying, then I can go, we're never perfect. In every day, we must always keep evaluating ourselves and our organization and our goals. We're good at goal setting, but goal evaluation is really nice. June, mid-year, how have we achieved our goals? Where have we gone wrong or gone right? Are we going to continue what we are doing, or are we going to change our strategy? So that really helps.
In that strategy, have you ever found that your values could have been compromised, or people were challenging the values, your personal core values, that put in your face that, this doesn't feel right to who I am as a person?
All the time. And sometimes that is when you have to choose what you are doing, and we choose not to be in a organization, or in Africa everybody is corrupt. You choose not to be corrupt. All the time, like, how are you going to be successful if you don't do what everybody else is doing? You've got to be different. So your core values must be maintained. We are an organization that promotes integrity. I must say, especially in hiring people, most organization fails when it comes to hiring. Can my system of hiring be seen through by anybody, that anyone walking through this door is qualified for a job that computers has advertised, can get it, and that is true? You must make sure that it doesn't get corrupted, that, oh, my sister needs this job, my brother needs. They do, but are they competitive in order to move to the next level? So I think we've maintained, especially on hiring, which is really critical in this sector, we have maintained a clear, open, integral part of a system that anyone qualified can actually go through our process and get the job.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Is there one thing you would do differently in the pursuit of your success? And if there was, what would it be?
I need to think a little bit more about that one. But the most important thing for me was to mentor more and seek more mentorship. Probably I should start writing now, a book or something. But the key thing for us, and I think I'm not sure you know much about the African culture, there was the level of old people, younger people, and just generations of mentorship in the entire system. We've gone so much to individualism that has affected most of what we do. I think the mentorship, I need to do more mentorship. I need to seek more mentorship in all areas of work, spiritually, physically, emotionally, all areas of your life. That's what I'll do a little bit more.
Interesting you mention that, because that's one of the things I love about the African culture. It's something we definitely can learn in the West from Africa, is look to our elders for the knowledge that they can bestow on us, and not to be so individualistic, which is one of the reasons why my husband and I have donated our time to learn that from you.
Well done.
So, what is next for you?
Social business is next for me. I think there's a lot of people there who can do what they want to do without really chasing after money. That's the next for me. Organizational knowledge is next for me. Helping people to see, hey, if we knew everything we knew about everybody in my organization, we would really be far. So I look to, I don't know, it's starting a social business or growing to a different angle, helping people to use the knowledge they have to the best that they can, both individually and as an organization. Yeah, trading more, in short.
And this is a different question, but it may sound the same. Given the chance, what would you love to do that you haven't done yet? And it doesn't even have to be within your career. It could be. But what is something that you really would like to do?
I'd like to get into the army. I don't think I'm going to get there, but I think security is the greatest bit of information. And because I'm not going to get into the army and I'm not going to deal with the security, if you have information about all you need, then you will be secure in your knowledge. So I can provide you with an avenue, or organizations avenue, using information and communication technology to have security in their knowledge. And therefore, because I'm not ignorant of the dangers around me, then I'm secure. Since I can't march in the army, I'm too old for it, for recruitment right now. So I can offer the security that is relevant here.
I knew I was going to get a different answer. Now, and you have 2 sons?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Great sons.
No doubt. No doubt. Now, you don't have any daughters, though, do you?
Probably in the next life.
Okay. Let's put you in that life right now.
Yes.
If you had a daughter who is 10 to 12 years old, what advice would you give her today based on what you know?
First, I would tell her not to be afraid of anything. You are in this world for a purpose, and you can achieve that purpose. Do not be afraid. Be respectful in asking for information, and you will get it. Thirdly, give back. Whatever information and knowledge you have, show somebody. If you're 10 years old, you can help a 6-year-old how to cross the road. You can help your mother how to lift something. Do be helpful. Volunteerism is something that has to start at that age. And I do have a 10-year-old, 11-year-old son.
Okay.
And that's what I'm telling him. Volunteer in the Scouts Network. Help your teacher. Play football. What you want to do, do it. Ask, and you will get there.
Wonderful. And definitely good advice for both boys and girls.
And girls, yes.
So, what do you wish? If there was one thing when you were 10 to 12 years old that someone told you.
I wish I was told that a girl can do any work and not just cooking. Because I thought it was only cooking and being a teacher. But I now know differently.
You hear that a lot. The teacher, be a teacher. Finally, words of wisdom. What words of wisdom would you impart to African women?
Well, mine is that you win when others win with you. Growth is all round. You grow as your network grows with you. And as this growth brings about social impact, it will definitely improve your bottom line.
Wonderful. Gladys, it has been so great chatting with you for the last 50 minutes. We really appreciate your time and your insight. And most importantly, to help other women to be better than they are yesterday for tomorrow. So thank you so much.
Thank
It's
you,
been an
Suzanne.
absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Nice to meet you.
My name is Suzanne Stevens, and I co-produce Wisdom Exchange TV with my husband, Michael Keith Ginrich. And we both want to thank you for your time. We are traveling through Africa, and we need your help. We're looking for women like Gladys, who are leaders, trailblazers, who make an impact on the community, company, country, and ultimately the continent. If you have someone we should interview or research to interview, we'd appreciate your assistance. Please email us at info@wisdomexchange.com, wisdomexchangetv.com, and we will definitely get back in touch with you. Also, if you know an organization that would like to sponsor or have a conversation about sponsoring a very unique opportunity called the African Business Women Connected Summit, taking place in Ethiopia in 2013. If you're interested or know somebody who is, please, again, email us at info@wisdomexchangetv.com, and we'd be very grateful and happy to chat with them about this first-time unique opportunity. And lastly, Thank you for joining us. And I just want to leave you with some words of wisdom. I wish you the courage to push your edge to personal and professional potential. From backpack, your everyday living, to briefcase, your business success, and to boardroom, to engage many. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Please subscribe so that you never miss one of these great interviews.